his social media handle. All these stories that are lined up for 6 p.m. Let's start with our first focus story of the evening. Now, Air India's cruelty has been exposed yet again. Granddaughter of an 82-year-old widow of a decorated hero took to social media handle X today to share the ordeal that they faced while traveling with Air India from the national capital to Bengaluru. This 82-year-old woman that you see on your screen suffered a fall at Delhi airport and landed in the ICU at a hospital in Bengaluru. The allegation is that the 82-year-old woman was left injured after Air India allegedly failed to provide a pre-booked wheelchair at the Delhi airport, which compelled her to walk before collapsing at the IGI airport. Now, Parul, the granddaughter, detailed how her grandmother, the widow of a decorated Lieutenant General, had confirmed a wheelchair booking for her flight from Delhi to Bengaluru on March 4th. However, upon reaching to the airport, no wheelchair was provided despite repeated requests to Air India staff. The airport help desk and even Indigo personnel who repeatedly had a spare wheelchair refused to give it to her. Here is how Air India had countered the passenger.
After broken passenger seat, loose cushions, arrogant ground crew and unannounced flight cancellations, now this. No stranger to controversy, Air India has hit turbulence yet again. Showing the mirror to the carrier and its uncaring staff in a scathing social media post, a woman said her grandmother, who was booked on Air India flight, suffered a fall after being denied a wheelchair at Delhi's IGI airport. The woman claimed that the elderly, the widow of a decorated army officer, landed up in the ICU of a Delhi hospital after suffering a brain stroke. Moving visuals showed that the elderly bleeding from one eye and cheek after the heavy fall while trying to make her way to the departure terminal on foot. Kanchan Gupta, a senior advisor to the centre, hit out at the carrier saying he was appalled at the apathy and negligent treatment meted out to the elderly passenger. Gupta also called on the Directorate General of Civil Aviation to take note of the incident. Despite the severe backlash, the airline issued a templated response refusing to accept blame. In a detailed media statement, the carrier shifted blame to the elderly, claiming that she reached the departure terminal 2 hours late. In a series of calls to Republic, passengers shared their horrific experiences flying on Air India.
This kind of shoddy service, this kind of bad service, and that to an 82-year-old widow of a decorated war veteran, a general, is treated so shabbily. She has to run around from pillar to post for a wheelchair which was pre-booked, and the ground staff was so callous. They just couldn't care. So where is the accountability? And I mean, frankly, it is, as I said, it is for Tatas to think about it. But I don't think Air India can claim any glory, and that this incident should come to light on International Women's Day is extremely, extremely tragic.
Earlier, Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan blasted the carrier after being allotted a broken seat on an Air India flight. Close on the heels of the Shivraj episode, the BJP's Punjab chief shared images of cushions thrown loosely on passenger seats on an Air India flight that he was on. Another BJP leader, Jaiveer Shergill, also called out the poor passenger services and arrogant ground staff in a fiery social media post, saying that if there was an Oscar for the worst service, Air India would win it, hands down. As another shocking incident comes to light, it is time Air India is made to pay for its criminal negligence.
Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Akhil, who is reporting from outside the Air India office in Gurugram. Akhil, the Air India has given out a statement. They have countered to all the claims that are put up by the victim's granddaughter, saying that all of them are false and that the woman was not denied a wheelchair and that the woman in fact was late. You are reporting from outside the Air India office. Is Air India promising any action against the officer who are responsible for this accident?
Well, if you see, Tanisha, so far no action has been taken on that regard, that who was responsible. Because earlier, if you see Miss Parul, who basically posted on social media platforms saying that her grandmother, who was an ailing patient and he was traveling from Delhi to Bangalore, at that point in time, if you see the ticket, we have also access to the ticket, and in that ticket it was clearly mentioned that she had already paid for the wheelchair. But when she arrived over there at the very airport, at that point in time, there was no one to assist her, and she had to walk alone at that point in time. And at that point in time, she fell on the very airport, in which she got injured, and she got injury on her head as well. Apart from that, on lips as well and nose as well. So this was the concern which was being raised by Miss Parul, who is the granddaughter of the victim, who's a widow of a senior army officer. So at this point in time, what we have seen, that there is a contradiction that we can certainly see, because if you see the statement being made by Miss Parul, who is the victim's granddaughter, she said that for more than an hour, no one was there from the Air India side to help us, to guide us, to assist us. But if you see the version given by the Air India, in that it was said that it was not even more than 15 minutes, and the passenger tried to move on themselves. They did not wait for a long time, as being claimed by the victim's granddaughter. So at this point in time, there are two different statements being represented by the victim's side and the airline side. But if you see, on the contrary, this is not the first incident that has happened. Earlier, what we have seen, that 2 weeks back, if you talk about Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, he also complained. He posted on social media platforms saying that a similar kind of incident happened when he
Absolutely, Akhil. It remains to be seen what action does Air India take. Moving on to the other stories that we are tracking now. Two women, a 20